It's a piece of paper wrapped with green inside.
No, we don't talk about this.
It's not $1.
Shh.
It's on record.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Shh.
Shh.
After dark.
I'm going to fucking use that.
After dark. After dark.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Drop Culture Podcast. This week, we got a very special episode for you. We're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite DC animated movies.
Well, let's tell them a little bit about the history of what we're doing right now. Again, because
All right.
we have our regular quick cast
We
that
got a regular
everybody's been
quick
listening to. And that's our weekly. And
It's
then
the
we
quickest of the casts, yes.
Then we also have our long form podcast. I don't know what you call it.
I don't know.
But that's kind of like with Mitch. Right now it's just me, Brock, Tyson, and Dan, and we're calling this one After Dark. Because we digress a lot our stuff, and we're just gonna do a straight up. Let's digress on some stuff. Let's really deep dive into some stuff, get into the rabbit hole, and go past the rabbit hole, drink me, eat me, anything we want to at this, and we're going to have another kind of a topic for everything, and we'll just see where it goes. I mean, we have a lot to say about everything.
Yeah, so this one we kind of picked a format for just to kind of do something new and different. We're doing like a top 5 list.
Yes, and this top 5 list is because pretty much the reason why we're doing this one is because Batman Hush is coming out.
Yeah.
Me and Dan have we practiced one of these a long time ago, last year sometime.
Yeah, for
and we went
like
through
3 hours.
Yeah, we went 3 hours deep in this one.
Yeah,
And
doing R2 top 10s.
Yeah, and that top 10 one went for a long time. That was at our old practice room, and we just kept it going.
Unfortunately, the sound was terrible, and we would never put you through that, dear listener.
One of these days, we might post it up there just to see what you think, because you can hear
On your
Smash
mic,
Mouth.
you got to turn your mic this way a little bit.
You can.
There you go.
The turny mic.
You can hear the Smash Mouth cover song being played above us from our practice room, and
They were really good at Smash Mouth.
It was actually a good
Somebody
cover.
once told me the
That's the
world.
one.
And it was crazy because it was actually legit. Like they were really playing it really good.
So here
The
we
problem
are.
was not that they were playing it. They were playing it well.
Yes.
It was
But
that they were playing it, period.
They were playing
Yeah,
Smash
yeah.
Mouth.
Yeah.
It's like they were getting ready for the best mall concert
They're
ever.
like, you know what I watched last night? Shrek.
They're like, dude, I know that song.
Let's
play
do it.
Or
man.
Mystery Men.
Oh.
Yeah, or Mystery Men.
That's what I
Or
watched.
just you lived in that time period, and I'm sorry that you had to listen
You're
to
a
that.
genius. I did. I remember when that was on the radio like all the
Oh.
damn time. So
Exactly.
let's kind of.
Well, a little bit more about us too. I mean, we're all students of movies, I guess. That's a good way to say it. And we really have we like to talk about movies, and we hope you like to listen about our movies, which you can listen to all of our other Drop Culture podcast ones that we have released. And I mean, of course,
In
we
the
love John
library.
Carpenter, but we're going to really deep dive into a lot more things with this. And with this one, we're really going to get into the our top 5 DC animated movies, because we've talked about this many a times before, Dan, about how we think that DC's animated movies are the best part about DC right now.
Absolutely,
As
and
far
have
as-
been for quite a while.
God,
in my
and-
opinion.
Yeah, Warner
consistently,
Animation.
yeah.
Warner Animation has had a consistently good track record. I mean, you look at Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs.
Well, not even those, but starting with even the Batman Adventures.
Okay.
the
So
very
skipping.
first-
Yeah. So
Yeah, just doing the DC stuff whenever
Mhm.
they acquired them back
even
in the day.
even the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Young Justice was amazing.
Oh, okay. So in the '90s when they're doing
Yeah.
the
like all the way up from
Bruce Timm.
Batman. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was. I grew up on the Bruce Timm Batmans for sure,
Yeah, right.
and they had that animated series had some of the best, just Batman comics just Batman stories, period.
Yeah.
In any medium, just Batman in a way to represent the character and do it a lot of justice. And so
I was so excited whenever that series came out. I remember coming home from school. I don't even remember what grade it was, but I remember watching that in my room like I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming, and I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing, and watching it every day after school after that.
And we did, that generated also Mask of the Phantasm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Which, again, a lot. I know we've talked about this before, but a lot of people put up as one of the best Batman movies ever.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great one. It has like that flashback scene that kind of gives you the year one influence there a little bit.
Yep.
The Phantasm character, like I mentioned before on that past quick cast, if you listen to it, has never been adapted into the DC canon comics proper, like another character from Batman the Animated Series, Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Now, there is rumor that Tom King might bring him in, but bring her in. Spoiler alert. Yeah.
There you go.
But
Everybody's seen it by
the
now.
Phantasm, yeah.
Except for those kids that are like, "What Batman movie are you talking about?"
Batman movie?
Yeah. But that movie definitely. So there's the 2 seasons of the Batman animated series, and then you have the Phantasm movie, and then it became the New Adventures of Batman and Robin, which I didn't like as much.
Was that what was the sleeker Batman?
Well, so that's when it became the one
With
that
the
kind of
scarecrow that was kind of like scary scarecrow. Rather
he looks
than...
the same way he looks in the Justice League.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's like towards the end, and then Robin's there, and then Robin and Batgirl are there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's still great stories. There's one where 2 kids tell, I forgot the name of it, but they tell about Batman and each story is kind of a different era, a different Batman story. So there's one like with the Joker, and there's one with like the Dark Knight Returns. He fights like the mutant and stuff, and it's still cool.
No,
and then,
there was a really good one where the whole time he's like only got so many hours or something, and I believe he's like there's zombies, he's gonna die, something like that, within 24 hours, and then you find out that like later on he's just drugged the whole time.
Yeah, is that the one where Batgirl dies?
I don't.
And
remember.
Gordon like goes crazy.
It's I remember I like watched it once. Like it wasn't like I sat down to watch Batman. It just happened to be on. I was like, that was really good.
My
That
favorites.
was a really good story.
Yeah, my favorites tend to be the earlier ones, the Batman the animated series, just season 1 and 2,
Well, of course.
where he has the yellow around his chest still
Yeah.
on the bat symbol. But then of course it became Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And then
Which was also good.
Yeah, and then there
Which was of course, all spawned from Batman, the movie that came out in 1989, 30 years ago. Because I really think that was a catapult into the animated stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Our generation was really
without Tim Burton's
listening to it.
Batman. That's
Without-
actually one of the reasons that show was greenlit. Yeah.
Yeah. Without the early 90s, I think, and those people that kind of guided into that culture, we wouldn't have the culture that we have now, I think.
No.
Right, and so
Yeah.
I get a little angry when I'm going to digress a little bit here because that's what we're here to do. And I don't get angry, I guess per se, but I do get a little peeved when you're like, oh, I don't like Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. Well, we needed those mistakes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we needed that.
You need that as much as you need any mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they still
they were there.
But
They
Batman,
were popular.
But Batman Forever did what it did, and it was.
Yeah,
it was a hit, and it was fine. They did.
I actually liked the third movie.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
They went
I
off
enjoyed
the
that
rails
one.
with
it
the
was
fourth one.
The fourth one. It was
right.
that's where you lost me. The third one I enjoyed. That was probably one of the ones I rewatched the most, actually.
yeah.
But the fourth one, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That wasn't. It wasn't like.
I mean, I'm not trying to defend it or anything. I'm just saying.
I like that's under Elektra for me.
Ooh, I would
comic
rather
book
watch
movie.
that than
I'm throwing
Elektra.
that. I'm throwing that out there.
You
And
just
that,
see, somebody
that's
just got stabbed with size right now. That was Batman on
Ow,
his
my
Batman
eyes.
my size.
Size and
I'm just
eyes.
saying, if I was ranking, if I was going to have to watch one of those two movies, I'd probably watch Elektra. 1, because I've seen it less.
Yeah,
2, because it's not that movie.
yeah.
I really fucking hate that movie. Like, Bane was terrible. That was when Bane was popular.
I know.
And I was like, oh, Bane's going to be in this. And then it's like, whatever.
Oh.
yeah. And then he like shrinks into a scrimpy dude. He's like,
Yeah, when all the venom drains out.
yeah,
Not
not
cool.
cool. Not cool at all.
Yeah, it ruined that character, and I just think they tried to introduce so many people, and it was just a terrible idea. As much as Amazing Spider-Man 2, that's probably right there with it.
I see.
I
man,
fucking hated that movie.
I won't go off now, but I really like the costume in that movie.
Yeah.
of him.
Absolutely.
And I like the way it looked and the visual effects, but yeah, that movie's not that great. I did have a great idea of how they could have done a really, really good third movie.
They could have cut one of those characters out, is what they could have done, and still
sure.
had a story.
The Green Goblin. Yes, get rid of him.
But yeah, but think about this, dude. After he lost Gwen Stacy, Craven comes to town to hunt him, and you adapt Craven's last hunt into a storyline.
To the last one.
And it would be a third one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end, because he's missing Gwen Stacy still, the whole movie, Aunt May is trying to get him to go out on this date, but he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go because he's all depressed and stuff.
Ends up being with Mary Jane.
And at the end of the movie, he opens the door and she turns around and it's some hot chick in like a cameo, and she says,
"Face it, Tiger."
You just hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
And that's how you cut to black and end that fucking movie. And
that trilogy.
That trilogy with Andrew Garfield.
See, I think they tried to go a different direction with that, though, because they brought in a lot of his parents' spy stuff, which was
but
later.
They didn't finish any.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think that you do. Maybe you could.
I even forgot about that.
Yeah,
almost.
That if they would have just left, they didn't need any of that.
No, they did not.
And I know that they did that later on in the comics, like even
they were
after
SHIELD agents or CIA agents or something.
Whatever. Ridiculous.
Well, let's get back on track to the DC movies, or DC animated. So we got the Batman animated, then we go to Batman Beyond. Okay, sure. Terry McGinnis, older Bruce Wayne. And that spun out into a comic book too. That's canon in
Which
DC.
was a really the Return of the Joker movie was a really cool fucking movie too.
Yeah.
I've always liked that one. My little brother was really into that one because again I was a little bit older by the time that one came out. But Mark Hamill, that was his first time really shining as the Joker, even though he'd been in the series. And they brought him back for that because
they brought him back for sure.
They brought him back in that part of it, and they brought the Joker back, which the Joker was actually Robin in some weird way.
Right?
Which
Yeah,
was
that's
cool.
from the second.
He was like an implant.
The Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Yeah,
that's from the Frank Miller. In the second Frank Miller Dark Knight series after the Dark Knight Returns. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but essentially Jason Todd is like this crazy version of the Joker, and he has all these weird superpowers, and he ends up like falling into lava. Do you remember that? Did anyone?
I don't.
Oh,
well, they
I remember. I mean, it
was
sounds
in the
similar,
Lazarus
like you
pit.
said, to Return of the Joker. Was it Tim Drake?
It was Tim Drake, though,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And it has the violent scene where he gets killed, and they cut it out, and then they put it back in, like the uncut version. Yeah. So that's cool.
Well, then they all.
I kind of disagree that was where Mark Hamill shined.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you there. He was great.
He was great.
I think he had
that.
already hit that fame for that part. Well before that happened. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I were to recommend anything, buy just the first two box sets of this. You know what I mean? If the Batman the Animated Series, the red one and the blue one, have been heavily watched in my household, and you're talking a good 50 episodes there or something.
Yeah, because they would produce so many episodes per year.
And they didn't air them the same way that we would see them. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So they aired some and this way, or some at this time, and some at the next fall season, and then I believe animated. But it was one of the first animated shows that was in prime time.
Yeah.
Too, along with
not first animated shows that were in prime time,
but like superhero one, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
because the Flintstones were prime time back in the 60s,
and so were the Simpsons, right?
What about the Fantastic Four and all those Marvel
one
ones
first? That's
not first, but you know what I'm saying.
Because Marvel did all their series for the Saturday morning cartoons, where it was just the static images.
Oh yeah, you're talking
Captain
about
America. When Captain America throws his mighty shield,
man, you're going back.
Those who oppose
that's way back. Yeah. Yes, dude, I had them all.
I did too. I had Captain America, Thor, and Thor was. It's like he's flying with rainbows, and you're like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah,
of course, the Spider-Man one, with the greatest probably intro, most well-known intro.
Oh, right, the
song. But then they kind of laid off on a lot of those, and then they came into these DC animated TV shows.
Well, I think even before that, like if we're gonna go back, you had
the Fleischer cartoons would be going way back with Superman.
Yeah, for sure. But let's say we're starting at this point. Because then you have the Super Friends in there.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you also, if we're going to progress past that, you're going to have like actually right at the cusp of the end of that. You also had Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yep.
And in the Incredible Hulk, and for a while they had
Sure.
an hour that they did together.
Yeah.